Hey everyone, I am back and I thought today we would talk about sleep. I think I've had a few requests for this in the past, and a sleepless night recently reminded me of how important sleep is. So I figured I might as well go ahead and cover this topic while it was fresh in my head from my recent past sleepless night. So I hope everybody's doing good. Just to touch base with you, most of the country is in a deep freeze, and my neck of the woods is no exception. Today it is 10 below zero and with a wind chill of 40 below, and tomorrow they're expecting a wind chill of 60 below. Needless to say, I have nowhere to go that I absolutely need to be, so I will be staying in my house these couple of days until this passes. I don't have any plans normally during these couple days that it just so happened to have landed on, and I don't usually cancel any plans that I do have due to weather. I just bundle up super tight. But I am glad that these days of the super cold fell on days that I didn't need to be anywhere. So I am happily in my warm, toasty home, and I hope you are as well. So as far as sleep, I had a night recently here that I just could not fall asleep, and it made me think that it's probably a topic that could benefit some talking about. As most everyone knows, sleep is important to everyone, healthy people as well as people with lung conditions. But people with lung conditions, it becomes even more critical, not just mentally and emotionally, but especially physically. And I just wanted to cover it because of that reason. I think that a lot of you can already tell when that tired makes a big difference, because if you're anything like me, I normally start out the day with good energy level, and I try to get all my moving around activity stuff, like the stuff that's hardest for me to do, I try to get that done first in the day. Because as the day wears on and I get more tired, it gets harder and harder for me to do things. So by the end of the night, after cooking dinner, pretty much the only thing that I am ready to do after that point is sit around, either in front of a computer or in front of a TV. Just because physically my body is done, and then managing to move around with lung trouble is just, it's even harder. So by the end of the night, I like to just try to relax. Those are things that I can do, so I can do all those activities and stay busy during the whole first, part of the day, and all the way through till dinner time, if I get a good night's sleep. There are nights that, and they don't happen very often, but there are nights that when I don't get a good night's sleep, I start off exhausted. And some of you may realize that when you have a lung condition and you're managing shortness of breath, we don't breathe as efficiently as people with regular lungs. So we use a lot of our accessory muscles to assist in breathing, and this wears on our body, takes extra energy, burns extra calories, the whole 9 yards. So by doing this, we're using a lot more energy than the average person just to accomplish the basics of living, breathing. So when we start off compromised after a rough night's sleep, then it creates a problem with managing our breathing for the remainder of the day, and it does become difficult. And you can kind of see or imagine how if you had repeated issues of sleeplessness and managing your breathing on a daily basis from a point of sleeplessness, that then it would start to affect you mentally and emotionally, because the less you can do, the less happier you will feel, and the more emotionally drained you will become, and it can be a definite downward spiral. And people often forget that instead of thinking that maybe my sleep needs to be better managed, or I need to get assistance with sleep, sometimes they can just think that their condition is worsening when it's really much simpler than that. So I wanted to spend some time just looking at some of the different reasons and causes that we might have for having difficulty falling asleep. And some of them are easily fixable. Some of them may require some testing. Some of them may require some habit changing. So when we ask ourselves, why is it happening? The first questions are kind of from a health standpoint. Is it happening because we're lacking oxygen, or waking up due to snoring? And snoring often causes people to have oxygen issues. So for this first question to get answered, what you'll want to have done is a sleep study. And this is just to make sure that your oxygen levels are at the proper level overnight while you're sleeping, and that you don't have an issue with snoring and sleep apnea. I had the sleep study done, and we learned that what the proper setting for my oxygen was to be on at night, and my husband actually even had a sleep study done due to snoring, and he does have sleep apnea, and he does wear the CPAP machine at night, and his sleep is greatly improved just by addressing these issues. So you want to find out the cause, and if the cause is something medical that can be, addressed that way, you want to get that taken care of. I know that after I got put on oxygen, I slept better than I had in, oh my gosh, it was just amazing, the difference. The first night with the oxygen, I knocked out and did not wake up till morning, and it was just like complete blackout. And I don't sleep like that. I sleep in phases. I wake up every so many hours or so. And that first night with oxygen was just amazing. My body was so in desperate need, it wasn't even funny. Another reason we can have trouble falling asleep at night or staying asleep is if you have trouble breathing when you're laying down. I know of a lot of people that have difficulty breathing when laying flat. So in this case, you may have to look for a better bed, or an adjustment for your pillows, maybe a wedge, something that helps you to be in a little bit more of an upright position. That can help a lot of people, especially if your breathing issue has anything to do with your heart. But I know that just anybody with chronic lung conditions, a lot of times they'll be better off if they have their head and back elevated a bit. It doesn't work for me. I feel much better flat, and so you have to try different things and see what does work for you. But that's definitely something that you'll want to think about. Some people have difficulty staying asleep due to wheezing and coughing. If that's the case, you maybe want to talk to your doctor and see what might be some ways of addressing that. And if you have coughing that comes out of nowhere and just won't go away, don't forget to address the heart side of it. Sometimes they try to treat the cough and they're looking past the problem. Heart issues will cause a chronic cough. When I went in for my congestive heart failure, I was coughing almost nonstop. If I tried to talk, if I laughed, anything would cause me to start coughing again. So And since that was treated and taken care of, I rarely cough. A drink will go down the wrong way and that'll cause it or whatever, but definitely night and day from how much I was coughing before, and I would have never in a million years guessed that it was a heart problem. So also during that time that I had the congestive heart failure, I did need to sit up more. I slept on multiple pillows, 2 or 3 pillows at night, and now I sleep on one. So you do not want to overlook the possibility of heart issues if coughing or needing elevation is a problem that you're having. So just keep that in mind, again, with the medical issues and having people look at it. It never hurts to cover all your bases. So let's see. Then the other thing you want to think about is when you're taking your meds, kind of really pay attention to what side effects each med has. Some of them may be restlessness or extra energy or different things like that. Some may be that they make you tired. So the meds that make you tired, take those ones before you go to bed, and the ones that have a tendency to cause restlessness or anxiousness or anything like that, you want to take those ones in the morning during the day when you don't mind having that extra energy. So I also have known several people that took like their inhaler. So I have a 24-hour inhaler. It's something I take once a day. And I have known people or met people that take that once a day inhaler right before they go to bed, which is not really the best plan of action, because you want the inhaler to be at its strongest point when you need it for the most activity. And your activity level would be the most during the day. So you would want to take it in the morning. And then by the time the inhaler would be at its, wearing down effect, you would be in bed and also not needing to do much. For people that find that they have a lot of trouble breathing due to wheezing and that, maybe it would be better to look for a twice-a-day inhaler, one that you can use in the morning and one that can be used at night as well. And this may be a way to kind of control the wheezing at night and to help you to get better sleep. The other thing that you'll want to think about is the different types of foods and drinks that you're eating and drinking before you go to bed. Certain foods and drinks have more of a awakening effect on you. You'll want to stay away from caffeines and sugars and, just the stuff that can keep you up at night. Give yourself every chance of getting a good night's sleep by winding down, not having certain foods after a certain time or certain drinks after a certain time. Water's a great drink for at night so that you're nice and hydrated and you can address the thirst issue, but you're not putting anything into your body that would fight against you in keeping you awake. So just some stuff to think about. Poor sleeping habits are something that we often have before we even have our lung issues, and sometimes these poor sleeping habits follow us through, our entire life, and they might have been okay before you were fighting for breathing on a daily basis, but now that the lung issues have made daily life a little bit more difficult, it may be time to reevaluate those poor habits that have been following you around. So in other words, if you watch TV in bed at night before you go to bed, or they say that if a person is having difficulty sleeping, they should try to turn their habits around so that their bed is only for sleeping. So when you get into bed, make it your bedtime. That you're not going to watch TV, you're not going to be on the internet or any of those things. I do take my phone to bed with me. I do have it set to the nighttime so that there's no blue light when I have it set like from, I don't know, it's like 10 p.m. to 10 a.m. that there's no blue light, so it's a very dimmed version of the phone, and it's more of a yellow, I forget what they call it, but it's an ambiance thing that the iPhone has to avoid blue lights, and doing that has helped a lot in cutting down on the level of awakeness after, being on my phone at night and then going to sleep. So little things like that. Never underestimate the power of comfortable space for sleeping. So, the more comfortable you can make your sleeping space for sleeping, obviously, the better you're going to sleep. I love a bed that I can just sink into the covers, and it's nice and soft, and the sheets are, luxe, and, so I just try to pay attention to all the details so that when I climb into bed, it's like my ultimate space to be, and I just want to wind down, relax, and sleep. So, kind of do whatever you can to kick your bed up a notch, so that it's your ultimate sleeping space. Don't forget to adjust your meds, make a smart plan for which meds you're going to take when. And another thing that helps a lot is dark, cool spaces. We sleep much better in dark, cool spaces. So our house always gets colder at night, and we used to turn the heat up to accommodate for that difference. But since we have discovered that cooler is better for sleeping, we have not had to adjust the heat at all. The house warms up during the day when we're up, and it's nice and comfortably cool at night, and we do sleep much, much better. And lastly, I guess learning how to really quiet your mind. I am a person that is almost always thinking. My mind is always going at what's next, what's next, what's next. So this became a huge deal for me, knowing that if I don't get the proper amount of sleep, that it will wreak havoc on me the next day. I've really had to address this head on. And what I've found is that every time that my mind starts to wander thinking about stuff that I'm not even going to do anything about at this moment. So, in other words, it's thinking about stuff that I need to do tomorrow, or that maybe I should have did already, or whatever the case may be. Whatever it is, I know that in this moment there is nothing that's going to be done about it while I'm here in bed. So I'm going to let it go. And every time my mind starts to wander like that, I bring it back to sleep. And I'll just repeat in my mind the word sleep. And it's less important about what I'm saying. It's like paying attention to breathing again. So it's like meditation in a way, like how meditation, by paying attention to your breath, it brings you back to the space that you're in right now. So at night, when I'm in bed and my mind starts to wander, I just repeat the word sleep in my head, and it brings me back to my current moment right now and what I'm trying to do. And before I know it, I'll be drifted off and problem solved. So, and as I'm sure all of you have already discovered, that a good night's sleep is worth its weight in gold. I hope some of these things help some of you to get a better night's sleep, and I don't know, maybe it'll uncover some stuff for you that maybe you overlooked. I know there was stuff that I had overlooked until I really started digging, and and never underestimate the importance of a good night's sleep. And I hope you all are getting that as well. So It was good to talk to you again. Thanks for watching. If you haven't subscribed already, please do. And we will talk again soon. Thanks. Have a good one, you guys.